on issues of patients' rights by the time His Excellency Professor Yemi Osinbajo, Senior Advocate of Nigeria, Grand Commander of the Order of the Niger, finally performs the official launch. In anticipation of what's about to happen, can we please give His Excellency another resounding applause? To drive home the points made by the Director General in his address of welcome, I'd like to please ask at this juncture that we fix our gaze on the liquefied screen in front of you, where we're going to watch a very short documentary. And it's quite self-explanatory by the time you watch this documentary. Fix your gaze, let's watch the screens, if you're ready.
Is vital to the well-being of any nation. The standard and quality of care in Nigeria falls below expectations and consumers lack confidence in the sector. Complaints abound significantly in both the treatment patients receive and how they are treated. This despondence and frustration, as well as our healthcare outcomes, are compounded by the lack of redress mechanism and accountability systems.
The nurse just walked up to me. Are you blind? I was like, how? How can you tell me am I blind? And don't you see you have to pull your slippers? At least you have to talk to me as a human being.
When I was on admission, I actually complained. But the response I got was, was more discouraging.
The relationship between the doctor, nurses, and the patient is very, very poor.
My daughter was seriously ill, so I took my daughter to the doctor, and the doctor wrote what I'm supposed to do as the 4 tests that my daughter is supposed to go for. He said I should go and pay before I would do the test. My daughter would do the test. So I went there and I paid. They give me the receipt that when you're coming back to collect the result, come back and pick it with this receipt. I came back the day they gave me the appointment. When I appeared there, when I got there to collect, they've already gone inside the computer. Instead of them to bring the result of 2018, they brought the result of 2015.
My mom had the same issue. She was having a cancer of the lungs for that matter, and they did not tell her. They didn't even let her know what is wrong. They didn't allow her access to her file. Not until her death.
I've seen someone that was shot, and they rushed him to the hospital, and we even before treatment, aside even money, they were telling us to go and bring police reports, and this person was shot by armed robbers.
How can a dying man present a police report? Get him treated first. Even if you're going to have him chained to the hospital bed, go ahead. Or have a police station in the hospital, go ahead.
As the agency of the federal government responsible for protecting consumers of all products and services, and in keeping with the promises of President Muhammadu Buhari's administration, the Consumer Protection Council, CPC, under its current management, led by Babatunde Irukera, took the initiative to address the problem.
The healthcare industry is one of particular importance because ultimately that's the heartbeat of any nation or any people. And more so, when people are sick, no matter how strong they are, that's the most vulnerable point. And that's the time when people need the most possible attention. That's the time when they personally might not even be able to articulate their rights. And that is the time when people really need to know those rights and truly respect the rights. And that is why the Patient's Bill of Rights is a very important initiative, because what it does is that it addresses both the supply and the demand side. We're focusing a lot on educating healthcare service providers, all the professionals in that value chain, on knowing the rights of the patients that they're dealing with. And at the same time, we're trying to get patients to understand their rights so that at least they should know how to be treated and demanded.
CPC initiated a partnership with health professional associations, civil society organizations, and the Federal Ministry of Health to address issues of patients' rights with a view to making the nation's healthcare system people-centered. This resulted in the introduction of the Patients' Bill of Rights.
It's actually a determination of the federal government to put life to an international practice where the patient is considered the most important person in the health sector. In other words, we are moving from theory to practice. And it's also a recognition of our desire to improve quality of care in the health sector.
We had over 250-something organizations. We invited organizations, not individuals, both in the private sector and the public sector, and the CSOs, all special interests and things like that.
Whatever aspect of human endeavor, if there is a Bill of Rights, it clearly clarifies what the consumers expect from government and regulators, what is expected of the consumers on the other hand.
Somebody's a consumer of healthcare. I mean, the downside of not getting good quality care, what is at risk is so much. I mean, we're talking about injury, physical injury, we're talking about death in some cases.
It's a good initiative that this is being formalized as a bill, that people will become aware of the rights of the patients and the responsibilities of the caregiver.
Nigeria is not a safe place health-wise for a lot of women, a lot of young children under 5. And when things happen, a surgery goes wrong, they leave something in your stomach, there's no recourse. Because I have to add that poor service happens everywhere in the world. It's not just a Nigeria phenomenon. But in many countries, there's recourse. So if something goes wrong, you have a place to go to say something went wrong and consequences need to be meted to these people. But in Nigeria, we haven't quite seen that. So we're hoping that the Patient Bill of Rights can tell the patients, this is what you should expect when you go to a hospital, and can educate the providers, this is what a patient should expect when they go to the hospital. And when that expectation is not met, you have recourse. That's the only way we change human behavior, is recourse.
The PBOR is an aggregation of patients' rights that exist in other instruments, including the Constitution, the Consumer Protection Council's Act, Child's Rights Act, Freedom of Information Act, National Health Act, the Hippocratic Oath, other professional ethical codes, and sundry regulations.
This Patient Bill of Rights is coming to fill in a vacuum that existed for long. A much needed vacuum of one, establishing and informing the Nigerian public. When you come to hospital, this is what is expected of you, not from the space, but from an existing law.
Being the custodian of people's health, we were concerned on the operationalization of National Health Act, which was passed into law in 2014. Part of that law is centered around the patient.
Many times the patients are at a loss what exactly to expect when he or she goes to access health care. And what this bill tries to do is to straighten those things and make it very clear to the Nigerian citizenry as well as healthcare providers what the rights of the patients are and what his or her responsibilities are and what the rights of the providers are and their responsibilities.
We have also seen that many of our patients are being treated and given management. Sometimes they don't know what are the duties of their practitioners towards them. Meanwhile, a healthcare provider who sees a patient in emergency, there are things you have to follow. If you don't follow it, you'll be found culpable.
As an NGO, at Save the Consumers Initiative, we are going to be a watchdog to that effect. And we are looking at 1 year report on that. Because after a year, we are going to send out what we call mystery shoppers. Mystery shoppers will go ahead and really test this if healthcare givers actually adhere to all these rules and regulations.
The Patients' Bill of Rights covers issues such as right to information, right to emergency care, right to transparent billing, right to clean, safe, and secure environment, right to confidentiality, among others.
But most important, that assertion that the customer is king That is what the Patient's Bill of Rights has come to do.
Everything you consume have quality assurance.
The health sector has to realize that the consumer is at the core of our service. Without them, we really don't exist.
They're going to benefit a lot. Their voices will be heard.
Healthcare.
Thank you very much, and actually it makes for better understanding of what the Patient Bill of Rights is all about. Please, another round of applause for the Consumer Protection Council. Thank you so much. At this juncture, we'll be taking a few goodwill messages with a very kind permission as very special guest of honor, Vice President Yemi Osinbajo. I'd like to, without much waste of time at this juncture, invite the NMA President, Dr. Fadrile. Please, if you're here, you have 3 minutes, and I think you please skip protocol so that we can move along very fast, taking into cognizance the exigencies of the Office of the Vice President. So we need to quickly run through this. Please, a warm round of applause for him.
Thank you very much, the Vice President of Nigeria, Professor Yemi Osinbajo. I represent the President of Nigeria Medical Association, who is currently in the United States of America for another engagement, and I am the first Vice President. This, for us, is a day that we are very happy as medical practitioners in Nigeria, and also the custodian of the patient. We saw this as a duty, and we took it upon ourselves because patients are the great assets that we have to protect, to cherish, and to love. And that is why NMA have stood firmly to make sure that the Patient Bill of Rights has been developed to this level. No wonder we were actively involved in the process together with other health practitioners in Nigeria. We are confident that this Bill of Rights will improve the current system that are in place so that at the end, we will all be working comfortably in an environment where the patients are well informed and also their rights are well protected. We shall go further to make sure that we do our own bit as medical practitioners, and I would therefore call on behalf of the Nigerian Medical Association that our members, together with other health care providers in this country, we will stand by this bill. We will work together to make sure that this bill succeeds. We shall join the CPC in creating more awareness concerning this bill in this country. And I must thank the Vice President for giving the enabling environment through the CPC DG for making these projects come to pass today. Count on our continuous support, count on our continuous resilient effort to make sure that this bill sees the light of the day, not only in Abuja, but throughout where all medical practitioners are found in this country. Thank you very much, Mr. President.
Thank you very much. The next goodwill message is going to be coming from the Chairman Technical Committee for the Patient Bill of Rights, Dr. Ben Anyene. Can we please welcome Dr. Ben Anyene with a round of applause? Dr. Anyene, sir.
Yeah. His Excellency, the Vice President of the Federation,
Please let me stand on the existing protocols. But I must take the opportunity to thank the federal government through the President and the Vice President, the DG, the Minister of Health, because all these people were very, very relevant to this work. The Patient Bill of Rights is a right that is derived substantially from the provisions of the National Health Act, Section 20 to 30 of the National Health Right. And it's one of what I call the low-hanging fruits that are in that National Health Act, which, if we all, because this is a partnership work, if we go further in partnership, we should be able to derive more for the patients in harvesting those low-hanging fruits. The other aspects of the low-hanging fruits in the National Health Act includes Section 11 that talks about the Basic Healthcare Provision Fund. But for that Basic Healthcare Provision Fund to be able to be effective, it has to be delivered through eligible primary health care centers. And for you to have eligible primary health care centers, you should be able to classify them as provided in Section 12 of the National Health Act. And after the classification, you have to give them certificate of standards. It's only those facilities that have certificates of standards that are eligible to deliver this. That's one component of it. The second component is we are all consumers, but this is high-end consumers that are sitting here. The low-end consumers are not here. And at the end of the day, they are the people who will benefit most from what is being launched today. I've told the DG that the work starts today. After this launch, I think there are more needs to be done so that we can get to the low-end consumers to own this. Because really, this is the pull aspect of service delivery. He spoke about push and pull. This is the pull. And we have to make sure that the pull is relevant to our people. It is imperative and important that Nigeria gets out of the mess we are in the health sector. And the only way to do it is to do it right, to do it in partnership, and to do it with competent technical support. The last thing I want to say is that this whole work was done by Nigerians. We didn't need international consultants to do them. There are Nigerians with capacities to get this work done. Please, let's look for them and use them to serve our people. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Anyene there, with his own goodwill message. Yes, if you can think it, you can do it. And that's the Nigerian slogan, never say die. We've got all it takes, the caliber of persons, the human resource to be able to take this country to the next level, as exemplified by President and his Vice President. I'd like us to give them a round of applause, please. May I, at this juncture, invite the country representative of the WHO, World Health Organization, Rex Mpazanje. Can we have Rex Mpazanje for a few minutes, 3 minutes? Please keep protocol as well so we can make it as fast as we can. Can we please welcome him with a resounding applause?
Thank you very much. Your Excellency, the Vice President of the Republic of Nigeria, Professor Yemi Osinbajo. Let me stand on the existing protocol to thank the dignitaries here and to identify with the subject of Patients' Bill of Rights. As we know, as formalized in 1948, the Universal Declaration of Human Rights recognizes the inherent dignity and the equal and unalienable right to all members of the human family. And it is the basis of this concept of the person and the fundamental dignity and equality of all human beings that the notion of patients' rights was developed. While there continues to be great variations on how the provider-patient relationship is handled, there is international consensus that all patients have a fundamental right to privacy, to confidentiality, to their medical information, to consent or to refuse treatment, and to be informed about relevant risk to them of medical procedures. We in WHO, whose mission is to ensure health for all, fully ground it in the fundamental human right to health and fundamental rights to healthcare consumers. We therefore fully support this promulgation of Patients' Bill of Rights in Nigeria that specify entitlements and responsibilities of patients, health professionals, and healthcare institutions. We also remain supportive to the necessary supportive strategies for its implementation, including medical and other professional codes and patients' charter and similar instruments. The networking between and among patients and healthcare provider groups, plus regular discussion forums and awareness campaigns, as well as deliberate efforts to have non-governmental organizations in the field of patients' rights. We therefore like to join in to congratulate Your Excellency, the Honorable Ministers of Health, Trade, Industry and Investment, and the DG for CPC for this notable milestone towards protecting Nigerian consumers of healthcare. And we remain ready to support the immediate actions that need to follow. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you very much. World Health Organization country representative. And thank you for taking ownership and wanting to support this program even further. The representative of the Registrar, Pharmaceutical Council of Nigeria. Do we have the representative? You have just 3 minutes, please. And please, I'd also want Registrar Dental Technologist Board of Nigeria representative to please be on standby for her own goodwill message.
The Vice President, Federal Republic of Nigeria, permit me to stand on existing protocol. The Pharmacists Council of Nigeria is a federal government agency charged with responsibility of regulating the practice of pharmacy in all aspects and ramifications. One of the core mandates of PCN is ensuring rational distribution and dispensing of medicines that are safe, effective, and of good quality. This is to ensure that the patient has optimum benefit for various drug interventions. I want to assure you, sir, that the PCN is willing to partner with the CPC and all other stakeholders in ensuring that the patient's rights are observed. Thank you very much.
Thank you. If you can keep yours this brief, then I think I'll just allot 2 minutes from now on. Thank you so much, sir. Your Excellency, permit me to invite at this juncture Registrar Dental Technologist Board of Nigeria, Mrs. Olushola Omiloye is here. Please a round of applause for her.
Thank you. Dental technologists, as we all know, fabricate dental appliances for all the patients. I like to stand on the existing protocol. as the regulatory body for technologists, we shall ensure that our professionals key in into this Bill of Rights by producing the best quality and standard dental appliances that can be likened to what you can get over there. We cannot do but more than this. Our minister, Honorable Minister of Health, has been so magnanimous to all the health regulatory bodies, and we are working together. We will remain in partnership with this bill. Thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you very much, ma'am. Let me then invite very quickly, first of all, her name is Mrs. Olushola Orimoloye. Thank you very much. Country Representative Save the Children, Mr. Ben Foot. You're next for goodwill message. Ben Foot, sir. Can we welcome him with a resounding applause, please?
Thank you. Your Excellency, Professor Yemi Elson-Basadjo, I first of all really want to say how honored I am to have been invited to this occasion. I think one of the previous speakers made the point that this bill has come about through the work of